Hello Scorpio, Scorpio rising and Scorpio moon people. This is your monthly astrological horoscope for December 2016. And a quick reminder for you guys, remember these horoscopes are definitely more about the sweeping seasonal changes that last longer than just a day. So it's important to remember that when you look these over. And if you are more interested in more short-term aspects on a daily or maybe even weekly basis, you might want to check out the weekly horoscopes that I do put out. I understand that some people prefer astrology exclusively, but that's why the first half is exclusively devoted to astrology, so there's still something for you. And of course, if you'd like to get a session with me, you can always follow the links below or go to integrativemysticism.com. So, what is this month going to be all about? Well, we've got so much activity going on in your third house of communications, alright? We've got Mercury going through there, we've got a Mercury retrograde there, we've got the Sun in there, we've got a new moon there, we've got Pluto there, and so a lot of focus is on Capricorn. It's just going to be one of those months where all the planets are clumped into one area, and that tends to be how December goes. Usually in December we tend to see all the planets either clumped in Capricorn or in Sagittarius, and this year it's in Capricorn. And this all starts off with Mercury moving into this area on the 2nd of the month. And it will be direct here all the way up until the 19th. So we've got plenty of time to enjoy Mercury for what it is. And when we talk about Mercury in the third house, we are talking about rapid completions, alright, in any kind of areas relating to communications, speeding up processes that you need to get done quickly, whether they are short-term assignments, contracts if you're a freelancer. In fact, business would be great for those of you who are freelancers, or those of you who are artists, performing artists, or anyone who works in the communications field, but also about wrapping a lot of things up in terms of maybe even your education. Some of you may be finding out opportunities are showing up to complete coursework earlier to get a certification or to get a promotion or to get some kind of a documentation that would legitimize, your position or further your position at work, or allow you to open up to further, I guess you could say, business ventures or business opportunities. And with Mercury in the third house, there could be plenty of travel involved as well. On the 7th, we've got Venus moving into the 4th house of home and family for you. And with Venus going into the 4th house, it's a wonderful opportunity for people who are interested in kind of doing more merging in their love lives, okay? Where are we kind of ready to start talking about the merge, whether it's, moving in with each other, making more space with each other, if you're at that point in a relationship, if we're talking about merging social circles, introductions to family members, if you've been maybe a little bit worried or apprehensive about maybe meeting a lover's family or having them meet your family, Venus during this time, just do it after the 7th of the month. Things should actually go quite well. This is also a lovely opportunity for those of you that are, maybe even if it is the end of the year, planning on trying to get a home ready for sale. Okay, Mars tends to benefit the buyers, and Venus tends to benefit the sellers. And so if you've been looking for a way to kind of get the best deal on a property or a piece of property that you are trying to sell or unload, might not necessarily even be a house, it could be a car, it could be anything along those lines, this is the best time to be doing so. I am well aware that Mercury is going retrograde on the 19th, but at the same time, you have, almost 2 weeks to make sure that you can get something underway in the middle, in the interim, So there's plenty of room to play there. This is also, though, a wonderful time in general when it comes to being able to reconnect your family, especially not only those who are in your blood family, but even your second family, calling the group back to you after time apart these last few months. On the 13th, we do have a full moon occurring in Gemini, in your 8th house of passive income, your shared resources, intimacy, sexuality, sensuality. And I feel like this is going to be a very, very amorous kind of full moon for the Scorpio people. In fact, this full moon, usually full moons tend to bring a very lusty, very smutty kind of vibe to the zodiac, and I know I want to keep this, I want to keep my videos at least PG-13, so you can just use your imaginations from there. But between the 13th and the 20th, 20th, I would definitely budget some time for some really good opportunities to reconnect and maybe explore more with your sweetheart. This is also an excellent time for those of you who are looking to maybe close up any kind of major bills or close up any kind of major, I guess you could say, digs at your wallet as monthly expenses. If you're looking to get out of a payment plan early or maybe make some amendments, refinance, this is a wonderful chance. This full moon is going to be working over all of those areas very well for you. On the 19th, we have Mars going into Pisces, into that 5th house of love and romance. And okay, so we've got a lot of lovey-dovey stuff happening here, but Mars is interesting when it goes into the 5th house, because it's talking about getting closer to our lover without relying on conventional romantic activities. Okay, because Mars, it's a planet that talks about bonding. It's a planet that talks about platonic intimacy. When we talk about, more of like that warrior kind of connection, that bond that comes from oaths and pacts, and it's really mature, really you do not make a promise you don't keep, or will, or that kind of situation. And when we have Mars in the 5th house, it's an interesting opportunity to test a relationship to see how well we stay in sync when we're not just simply going out on dates and spending an evening at home. Are there other activities that we can have to bond over? Mars in the 5th house can also talk about great opportunities to, again, merge our social circles, our friendship circles, making our sweetheart part of the gang, or joining part of our sweetheart's gang, and getting closer through those kinds of activities. Again, bringing more of that platonic intimacy in to balance the energies of our relationship out. Now, with Mars in the 5th house, though, you've got to be a little bit careful. People get a bit more testy. The fuse is cut a bit short in the month of the half that Mars is in the 5th house. So it's not a good idea to be playing games with each other, okay? You know how sometimes lovers will test each other. This could also be a situation where even with a child, the 5th house can talk about some struggles with your kids, where people would be testing each other, seeing who's going to pass or fail. Passive aggression and those kind of tactics just simply do not work with Mars in the 5th house. It is a regrettable decision you should not make, nor should you play into if it's happening to you. On the same day, we do have Mercury turning retrograde in your 3rd house of communications. And this can be a bit of a struggle from about the 19th of this month till about the 12th or the 13th of January, where you have to maintain the utmost care and the utmost grace on the road, because this area does talk about travel and everyday travel. This can bring some problems. Watch out for tickets, flat tires, all of that kind of stuff. If you live in the northern hemisphere and you are north enough to know what a winter feels like, you definitely know what I'm talking about anyway. But all of you Scorpio people, just be mindful when it comes to handling your gadgets, your computers, and your travel materials as well. Mercury retrograde here can also talk about revisions that may not be necessary. So I want those of you who are thinking about maybe editing proposals and things like that, if you're going to edit it, if you're going to proofread it, obviously you have to do that to make sure you're doing the best project. But make sure during this time, if you've got like a book or a big report or anything you're trying to submit for work or even for school, that you're not revising it so much in a compulsory way that it's no longer what it was intended to be. This tends to be what kills a lot of aspiring authors or anyone. Maybe not even like an author, it could be a student, you just could be submitting a report for work. This tends to just be killer on people during this time because, again, they don't know when to finish a project. They don't know when to finish a product, and so this is a time to really pay attention to where we might be procrastinating or even protecting ourselves by pretending something's not ready to come out of the oven and we're about to burn it, so just be careful with that. Also, maintain some care around this time when it comes to any kind of communications that you have over the internet. People suck at writing intonation anyway, so I always laugh when people try and have serious discussions on Facebook and text, and then they wonder why they're getting upset. People can't intonate very well sometimes, so during this time, try to avoid those topics as well. Try to avoid it, at least during this time. On the 21st, we have the Sun moving into Capricorn, into that 3rd house of communications, and it's really very, very much in a very happy, healthy, lovey protective way, cutting a lot of that negativity and a lot of that challenge of Mercury retrograde out of it. You know, it's kind of saying, no, it's not going to be that bad, we're gonna soften the blow. And with the sun going in here, you are going to be noticing you're a lot more popular, you're a lot more in demand, and your name is spreading like wildfire, probably faster than you can keep up with it. And this could be great for those of you who are interested in networking, but because Mercury retrogrades here, some of you may be a little bit concerned about your social privacy. So you do want to make sure, again with the sun, that we're getting quality communication and not just adding everyone to our friend list or to our mailing list or letting everyone kind of stroll through our life just because they show up. With the sun being here, though, this is a great chance for those of you who are looking to bond and reconnect with siblings, and again, even friends that have become a little bit distant, because it's talking about, again, not only opening lines of communication, but healing lines of communication that have been recently challenged, recently broken, and the sun going through here as well can be a really nice opportunity for you to even get back on the same page with either a sibling or a cousin that, again, we've been completely off the mark with, and they us. Finally, on the 29th, you've got a new moon in this third house of communications, and this could spell a wonderful update or an upgrade to your job. It may not necessarily be a profile, status upgrade like a promotion, though there could actually be a raise in it. Later, sooner than later. We may be changing our job profile, and the reason I'm saying this about the communication zone is because this new moon is also very much connecting to, I guess you could say, a part of your chart that has a lot to do with your focus on how you do what you do for a living. And we could be getting some upgrades to our tools, we could be getting some upgrades to the, to our schedule, or how we actually handle our clientele. Things are going to be going a lot smoother during the revision of this Mercury retrograde, and if you've been feeling like maybe the policies are incorrect, or maybe the way the rules or the deadlines are set are incorrect, this new moon is talking about a new clean slate, but also at the same time an easier place to work. And for those of you that are looking for a new job, this could also bring that as well. But again, make sure that you understand that everything is going to be completely brand new compared to what you have on your resume. Finally, we've got Uranus turning direct in Aries in your 6th house of reputation and physical health. And in a lot of ways, Uranus retrograde was a good thing for you because it did take out a lot of the spontaneous and random, shifts in your health, whether they go down, whether it goes up. At least it kind of hit some kind of plateau, and we had stability, we had evenness here, whether it had to do with your weight, whether it had to do with, any kind of chronic or acute health concerns you've been dealing with since July. At least they were stabilized. But with Uranus going direct, it can create some of a tendency for your physical health and even your work schedule to become more erratic. Now, if you enjoy erratic, if you kind of like that fly by the seat of your pants, you like the spontaneity, you like the cues from the external, the prompts, the divine interventions, the crazy coincidences in your schedule, in your reputation, and even possibly in how you change your image or even your health, maybe you didn't like the last few months because things were a little bit too still. It's always a neutral aspect when Uranus goes direct, and we've got the spontaneity and the revelation coming quick, but also at the same time some new treatment opportunities for your health if that's what you're looking for, whether it could be any system in your body, it could be anything from your circulatory system to dentistry. But what you want to focus on is that you do have that opportunity showing up. It may be alternative, maybe a little bit different, it may come out of the blue, but it may also be perfect. Just wait till after Mercury retrograde to cash in on that. So that is your forecast, Scorpio. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate it. And of course, if you'd like to get a session, you can always follow the links below or go to integrativemysticism.com.